Welcome to your maths video for Monday the 1st of February. This is your video if you're somebody who's got the Year 2 booklet. So before we start, let's check we've got everything we need. So for today's maths lesson, you'll need your whiteboard and your pen. You'll also need your booklet. We're on page 16 today, and your pencil, of course. Okay, then let's start with our warm-up. So our warm-up today is spot the mistake. So I've got some number sequences, and in each one of them there is a mistake. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to pause the video in a moment, and on your whiteboard I'd like you to spot me the mistake in each number sequence. So there's a number pattern, and in each one there is a mistake. So I want you to find the number that's the mistake and write it on your whiteboard for each one of them. Okay, so if you pause the video now so you can see all of the numbers, and when you spot each mistake, write it down on your board. I can't wait to see if you find all 3 mistakes. We'll go through the answers at the end of the video. So pause now. Okay then, on to today's learning. Now we are doing something similar today than what we did on Friday. So it's can I continue to solve multiplication and division questions mentally? Okay, so we were introduced to multiplication and division on Friday in our maths video, and we're going to continue today and practicing how to solve these questions mentally, and that means in our heads. Okay, so if you remember on Friday, I showed you what the number sentences would look like if we drew them as a picture, because it helps us to understand sometimes if we can see what that means. And I also said I don't like the word times. I wonder if you can remember and tell your adults what word or words I prefer instead of times. Tell them now for me if you remember, or just shout it out loud if you're on your own. Well done if you said lots of. So I don't like saying 3 times 3, because that doesn't really explain what we're doing, does it? Times. When we think of time, we often think of the clock or a watch, what time it is. But times doesn't really explain what we're doing here. So I prefer 3 lots of 3. Okay, and if we draw that, it helps us to understand it even more. So I want to find 3 lots of 3. So there's 1 lot of 3. There's another lot of 3, so 2 lots of 3. And now I've got 3 lots of 3. So that's my array, my drawing to match 3 lots of 3. I'm sure you found the answer already. Let's count in 3s 3 times. Okay, we'll cross them out as we do it. Are we ready? Okay, so we've got 3, 6, 9. So 3 lots of 3 is 9. Okay. This time I've got 6 lots of 5. Now drawing is really helpful, especially if we don't know the tables, but I know you all know your 5 times tables. Okay, but sometimes on some questions, drawing, although we can eventually work out the answer, it would take us a long time. If we were doing 12 lots of 5, it would take us a very long time to draw 12 groups of 5, wouldn't it? So that method works when we've got small numbers and we haven't got many groups to make, but when we're multiplying bigger numbers, it's not really that helpful. So I'm not going to draw 6 lots of 5. Okay, I'm going to count in my 5 times table. So we want to see what a 6 lots of 5 is. So show me 6. Do it with me. Okay, and we're counting in 5s. So are you ready? So we're going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Well done if you said that one with me. So 6 lots of 5 is 30. Okay, I've got you a question now to try on your own. Now, if you want to draw it, you can, but I think you can do it in your head like our learning question is today. So we've got 4 lots of 2, okay? So, got 4 lots of 2, so you're counting in 2s. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video now and solve me this question on your whiteboard. So you might just write the answer, or you might do me a little picture to help you work it out too. Okay, so pause now to solve me that one. Okay, well done if you found the answer. It's 8. Okay, and if you drew a picture, this is what it should look like. So we're doing 4 lots of 2. So there's 1 lot of 2. There's another lot of 2. 3 lots of 2. And 4 lots of 2. Let's just double check. Let's count in 2s 4 times. 2, 4, 6, 8. Well done if you got that. Okay, just like on Friday, what I'd like you to do is pause the video now, and on page 16, your 12 questions in section A, what I'd like you to do is solve all the multiplication, all the times or lots of questions. I want you to solve those ones now and then leave out the division because we're going to explain that next. So pause now to solve the multiplication questions in section A. Okay, so you should be ready then to move on to division. Now we spoke about this on Friday. So when we are dividing, what we are doing is we are making groups and we are seeing how many groups fit into a number. So in 10 divided by 5, we are seeing how many 5s fit into 10. Okay, and if I was to draw that, I would draw 10 circles and I'd put them into groups of 5. So I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I'm going to just stop there because that's one group, 5. And then I'm going to carry on. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can see that I've made 2 groups of 5. And if we count in 5s until we get to 10, you ready? 5, 10. We count twice, don't we? Because 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, so let's look at another one. This time I've got 2 divided by 2. So that's asking you how many 2s fit into 2. I'm sure you know this one. I think sometimes questions like this throw us a little bit, but when you think about it, it's really easy. So how many 2s are in 2? So let's count in 2s until we get to 2. Are you ready? 2. It's just 1. Okay, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, now this question I know you've got in your booklet. So we're going to do this one together. So get your whiteboards and pens ready. So we've got 8 divided by 2. So we're seeing how many 2s fit into 8. Okay, so what I want you to do, rather than pausing the video, let's do it together. So make sure you've got your whiteboard pen and your whiteboard and you're drawing and counting with me. Okay, so I've got to imagine I've got 8 sweets and I'm seeing how many groups of 2 I can make. Okay, so I'm going to draw 8 sweets, but I'm going to make sure I'm putting them into groups of 2. Okay, are we ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so Have you got that on your whiteboard? Make sure you're drawing and counting with me. So how many groups of 2 have we made? Okay, so let's count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now, our learning question today says, can I solve questions mentally? And that means in your head. So remember, if you're struggling, use drawing. But I think you could work these out in your head. So what we'd do there is we'd count in 2s until we get to 8. Now we must remember to stop at that beginning number of our number sentence. So stop at 8. So you get ready to count with me. Okay, so we're counting in 2s until we get to 8. And the answer should be 4. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. Remember to stop. So how many times did you count? It was 4, so we know it's right. Okay, so that's how we solve the division question. So what I'd like you to do now is solve the rest of your questions in section A. So complete all the division ones now and pause the video. After that, I'm going to explain some of the other questions and help you to solve them. So pause the video now for me. Okay, so the first question we're going to look at together is question 3B. Okay, so you might want to solve this, and you might want to pause the video after I've explained it and solve it as and when I'm explaining it so you don't forget how to work it out. So question 3B says find half of 100. Now that's a number fact. Some of us might know already. We might already know half of 100 and you can just write it in straight away. If you don't know what half of 100 is, okay, you can use one of my tips, and I think I explained this on Thursday or Friday of last week. Okay, so if we're finding a half of something, we're splitting it into 2 equal parts. Okay, so let's imagine I've got a yummy cake. Okay, and I'm splitting it in half. Now, I've got to split 100 in half. Now, when we've got smaller numbers, we can use drawing to help us. But 100's a big number, isn't it? It's going to take me a very long time. So let's imagine this is my cake and I'm decorating it with chocolate buttons. Okay, it'd take me a really long time to find half of 100. But my top tip last week, okay, if I cover up one of the zeros and I pretend I've got 10, if I find half of 10, I can then use that fact to help me find half of 100. Okay, so let's decorate my cake with 10 buttons. Are you ready? Remember, we need to share them equally to split them in half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and I'm sure you already know half of 10. Just think about your hands. You've got 10 fingers. Split them in half. The answer is 5. So we know then that a half of 10 equals 5. Now we've took away the 0 and we've made it 10 times smaller. So now we need to put the 0 back on to make it 10 times bigger. Okay, so I'm going to leave that part to you. If half of 10 is 5, half of 100 is going to be, so remember, put that 0 back on to make it 10 times bigger. I'm sure you'll find the answer. Okay, the next question we're going to look at is question 4B. And it says, twice 24. Now I looked at this, and actually the maths it's asking is pretty simple. You'll get that straight away. I just thought it was an odd way of asking the question. So twice 24. That's just saying 2 lots of 24. So 24 and another 24. So an easy way to do it is 24 add 24, and you can do it in the column method really quickly. Okay, next one we're going to look at is question 5b. It says add the odd numbers, and you've got 4 numbers on your question. Okay, and you've got to figure out which ones are odd and add them together. Okay, remember my little rhyme. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I like odd numbers all the time. I say that together. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I like odd numbers all the time. So the numbers that end in a 1, a 3, a 5, a 7 or a 9 are odd. So look at that question now, question 5b, and circle the odd numbers. You're then going to add them up. Okay, question 1c. So we're in the tough challenge section now. It says how many minutes in a quarter of an hour? So I've put the picture of a clock here to help you. Now, 1 full hour is 60 minutes. Okay, we know that. 60 minutes for 1 full hour. We need to find a quarter. And 1 quarter as a fraction looks like that, 1 out of 4. So when we're finding a quarter, we're splitting something into 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to split the clock into 4. Okay, so we know in time, when an hour is passed, your hand, so your minute hand, has moved from the 12 and has gone all the way around the clock in 1 full turn. So now we've split the clock into 4 parts, so into quarters. So what you need to do is you need to count how many minutes are in 1 quarter. Now think about, so when the minute hand is moving around the clock, so if it moves from 12 to 1, how many minutes is that? Have a little think. If you're not sure, you can use these little marks and I'll put them bigger. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each time the minute hand moves from each number, so from 12 to 1, it's 5 minutes. Okay, so you'd have 1 jump of 5, another. So counting 5s to find how many minutes are in 1 quarter of an hour. Now you might want to pause the video to use that picture to help you. Okay, the final question we're going to go through is question 3c. It says, what is 1/3 of 30 sheep? So 1/3 as a fraction is 1 out of 3. Okay, so we want to find 1/3 of 30. So we need to split the sheep into 3 groups. Okay, so what we could do, if we were working this out in our head, we would count in 3s until we get to 30. Okay, so if you know your 3 times table well, you can solve it that way. I've got this picture to help us though. So I've got 30 sheep. I need to split them into 3 equal groups. Okay, so I'm going to look at that picture and think how I could split them equally to make 3 groups. Now often when we've got a fraction question and there's a picture, the groups are already there for us. So let's have a little look. Now if I put them into groups vertically, so okay, 1 group, 2, 3, that'd give me more than 3 groups. So I'm going to rub that one out. have a little think. How could you split them into 3 equal groups? I can see them in lines, in rows, Luke, so horizontally. So I've got 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups. Okay, so my 30 sheep are split into 3 equal groups. So they're split into thirds. You need to find me 1/3. So what would 1/3 be? Okay, so just 1 out of 3 groups. Okay, so you're going to pause the video to use that picture and your answer will be 1/3. So you need to count how many are in 1/3. Okay. Right then, that's all of the questions we're going to go through. Now, I did say we'll spot those mistakes at the end, so going back to your warm-up, okay, let's reveal the mistakes. So, I'm going to get my red pen and I'm going to circle the mistakes. So we've got, let's look at the first one, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12, 14. Well done if you spotted that number 9 was a mistake and you wrote it on your board. We're counting in twos, aren't we? 2, 4, 6, 8. So that one should be 10. Okay, let's look at the next one then. 90, 80. Oh, I can spot. We're counting down in tens. So 90, 80, 60, 50, 40, 30. Ooh. Okay, well done if you spotted that my mistake was here. That number shouldn't have been 60, it should have gone 90, 80, and we should have had, shout it at me, 70. Well done if you spotted that mistake. Okay, let's look at the next one then. So we're counting in 5s this time, so we're starting from 15, so 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Oh, what should it be? Well done. If you spotted that the number 50 was in the wrong place, it should have been 40. Okay, I'm sure you got all 3. I can't wait to find out who got them, and I can't wait to see how well you do in today's learning. See you tomorrow.